After feeling the fullness of breath in your low belly, bring your attention to the mid chest, the ribs, inviting the breath to fill this space on the inhale. And feeling that chest area release on the exhale. And then feeling the breath rise up under the collarbones, the upper chest. Imagining the breath filling the back sides of the shoulders, the upper lung lobes, reaching far up towards the shoulders. And then bringing your attention to your third eye center. We often think of this space as between our eyes, on our forehead. I like to think of it as a place central in the brain. If you were to draw intersecting lines, the line that comes right up through your spine, out through the top of your head, intersecting with the line that comes across through your temples, that point in the center. Allow this space to be filled with light and breath. Notice if you're striving to find just the right spot, and bring a sense of ease. No, there's no one right way here. Bringing a tiny smile to your lips might help you take yourself a little more lightly. You may begin to imagine all of the complex folds of your brain. And can you imagine light and space penetrating into some of those folds? And then noticing all that attention in that one part of your body, can you allow that powerful attention to drain the light and the effort out down through your neck and shoulders, down your arms, down your central energy channels, through the chakras, out your legs and feet. Feeling that attention being held in your whole being. And then traveling back up through those 6 points of light along the chakras from the base of the spine, back up through the third eye center, and now reaching up the crown of the head. Imagining if there was a string attached to the top of your head that could just lightly pull your spine straight, connect you maybe to the divine, to this wisdom that we know is all around us. When we allow ourselves to feel connected here through this seventh chakra, we are able to feel our connection beyond our separate self, our connection to the entire universe. And this feeling of separateness falls away. Might be just fleeting moments where we have felt that sense of connection. This feeling connection to the divine or grace or however you call it is available to us when we give ourselves an opportunity to slow down and reconnect and really rest into our own wisdom and trust that this connection is possible and available to us. Bring our hands to Anjali Mudra at heart center, allowing our gaze to bow towards our fingertips, bowing to this wisdom. Let's open our practice this morning by joining our voices at the sound of Om. We can inhale all together. Exhale to Om. Inhaling. And bringing our fingertips right up to our temples. Let's start by giving ourselves a little temple massage. Welcome, Josie, if you're there. So glad you're here. And then maybe moving your hands all around your head, just really acknowledging this part of our body where we usually do so much thinking and planning, organizing, but it's really a source of that consciousness too. Maybe just allowing one hand to rest lightly on the crown of the head, imagining that place being able to open up and really receive light and energy from above. It's a portal. And then allowing both hands to come down. Let's roll out the wrists in both directions. And then the shoulders. Allow yourself to move here in any way that would feel just right for you this morning. Let's maybe taking one arm overhead, maybe left arm comes over for a side bend. And then side bend to the other side. Just feeling yourself warming up here. Maybe adding some shoulder circles, knowing that you have different things going on in your body, and certain movements that I guide today may not feel right for you, and then just make your adjustments accordingly. And then let's bring both hands overhead. We'll reach, kind of reaching for that light sun that's out there today. I can hear the wind too. Reaching, stretching, and then with an exhale, we'll twist to the right, just warming up our spines by side bending and twisting. Maybe keeping the torso in the same position, maybe just the head and neck and gaze might move to look over the left shoulder for this double twist. Softening in the spine. And then arms can lift back towards center when you're ready, taking your time. Exhaling, twisting to the left. Right hand can come to the outside of the left leg. Gaze might move over the left shoulder to start. And then just the head, neck, gaze could move towards the right. How can you soften here? Allow more space for breath. And then inhaling back to center. I'm going to move my cushion out of the way so that I can rock my spine forward and back. There are a couple of different ways you could do this. You could stay in seated and allow your back to round and then coming up so that the chest moves forward and the gaze lifts. You could also do this with your hands behind your knees. That would feel better. To round and lift. The 6 movements of the spine. Forward and back, side to side, and twisting in both directions. Okay, and then let's all put bring our feet out in front, wide apart, setting up for some windshield wipers here. It will allow the knees to drop to each side as imagining the femur bone rotating in the hip sockets. It's warming up those joints that might be a little stiff from sleep or other things you have going on in your life. Taking your time to move slowly here. If you find a spot that just feels like it needs a little extra time, lingering there. Next time your knees are both falling to the right, let's bring our right hand on the floor outside the right hip and left hand to the left hip, and just start to rock that hip forward and back. And really, any invitation is always that if we get started going in a posture and it makes you think of something else you'd love to do, that invitation is always there. My guidance is just that. It's some ideas, but really the beauty is when you can listen and drop in and find what would feel just right. If you're following along with me, we can bring our knees back up for a few more windshield wipers. I like to think in these windshield wiper poses, like I think a lot when my knees fall to the ground, that stretch that's coming there, but also the movement through center, through the groin. That's such an important part of our bodies to make sure we're not forgetting about. A lot of opening and release happens there, and that movement as well. Next time the knees are fallen to the left, we'll do this hip rocking, right hand on the right hip, rocking back and forth here. I have a squeaky board. One of the boards on my floor, it's like right under where I'm sitting. So I don't know if you can hear it squeak every time I move here. Gotta fix that. Great. And then we'll roll coming around. If it's okay for you to be on hands and knees, we're going to just slide our toes together and knees wide and coming down into a child's pose here. If child's pose is not good for you and your body, you could do this on your back with knees to the chest. You may, in this first child's pose, you may like to stack your fists one on top of the other to rest your forehead that way to bring the floor a little closer. Or you put a block under your forehead, can be really nice here. But right here in this child's pose, bringing breath first to the back of your sacrum, feeling that hopefully feels like a nice opening when we invite breath to the backside of the body, imagining that breath just extending and penetrating all along your back, right up through your shoulders and neck. And then feeling the connection of your forehead to the floor, your hands, a block, whatever you're using. Bringing your attention back to that third eye center. Feeling this place of wisdom and intuition, feeling grounded and connected to the earth and earth wisdom here. Knowing that this pose, child's pose, is a great way to be reminded to come back to the earth, come back to feeling grounded if we feel like we're lost in thought. And then taking your time to come up to hands and knees, pausing here before on an inhale, lifting the hips to downward dog. If downward dog is not safe in your practice this morning, you can eventually find your way towards standing. Taking a few breaths here in downward dog, walking out the heels. As we walk out the heels, can you stretch through the toes? And then walking the hands towards the front of the mat. Giving yourself a nice wide stance here as you pause in this forward fold. Maybe hands cross into ragdoll. Bending in the knees to feel a nice traction, upper spine being pulled by gravity towards the earth. Feeling a breath extend all the way through the spine, through the chakras, coming out the top of the head. Seventh chakra here pointed towards the earth. Let's release the arms and bend the knees, scooping up this earth energy, lifting arms overhead, and then pouring that earth energy, mixing with sun down through your body as the arms come down to your sides. Just noticing here. Standing, allowing your gaze to be soft towards the floor, maybe allowing your fingertips to wiggle, shaking out any energy that's left over from our seated postures. We're going to move through a flow here that incorporates some balance. The upper chakras really deal with balance and refinement. So we'll play with some balance. Please feel free always to use a wall or a chair as you're experimenting with balance. So we're going to let our left leg become our standing leg. So kind of really landing into that left leg, feeling the four corners of the left foot really land into the mat, into the floor, bringing a little bend to that left knee so we're not locking out. It's so good to have those little bends. It really makes our muscles work more in our left leg. And then right toes can come to the floor near the ankle, or maybe I like to lift that right knee any amount straight ahead before opening my hip into a tree pose. Maybe the right foot finds its place on the calf, or if you would like to move into pulling the right foot up closer to the upper thigh. And then hands maybe come to heart center here, or finding your version of tree with your arms. These are beautiful tree poses, taking your time to feel the wind. The practice is in coming back in, right? The practice is not about getting it perfect, but falling out and coming back in. I'm going to shift myself on my mat. So from wherever you are in tree pose, we'll bring our hands back to heart center and allow the right leg to release, but balancing still with the right leg lifted, feeling the bend in the left knee. Core pulls in towards center as we begin to fold over. Right leg, sending the right leg back any amount. Right foot could be on the floor here, could be using the wall or a chair for balance. Really feeling that core pull in towards center. If you're still playing with balance here, you can experiment with warrior three pose. Arms come out to the side or in front. Right hip coming towards the floor. Belly in towards spine, strong, strong core. And then slowly, right toes find the floor behind, making sure your feet are on parallel tracks for balance. We'll inhale and find ourselves into warrior one pose. So your warrior one pose could be a narrow stance if balance is challenging, or a wider stance here. Imagining the 2 points of the hip could be pointing towards the front of your mat, feeling a big opening in that right hip flexor. Right leg can be bent any amount here. Noticing if the left knee has wandered, can you bring the left knee back in alignment with the toes of the left foot? Big inhale here, maybe gaze lifts towards the sky, feeling your connection through the crown of your head, right down through your spine. Exhale, hands move through heart center. Hands come to the floor, framing the left foot. Pausing here before a left foot comes back, plank pose. Stay with your knees lifted here to just work some core strength. And then knees come to the floor. Chest comes to the floor. Bringing yourself all the way down for a cobra pose. Hands come to the chest, forehead to the floor, tops of the feet pressing firmly into the floor as elbows pull back, inhaling into your cobra pose. Feet still staying engaged, core lifting. Exhale. Coming here up to the knees. If it's uncomfortable to sit back on your knees, you can watch and figure out an alternate pose here. Let me shift my screen. We're going to come into seated yoga mudra. So we'll be just sitting on the knees for a short while. Hands come in front. Backs of the hands are touching as we inhale here. Exhale, hands move through space, finding themselves behind the body. If it's hard to clasp your hands here, you could use a strap or a shirt. Finding a clasp of the hands behind the back. Inhale, chest lifts, gaze lifts, shoulder blades move together. And then you can watch this if you're not sure. The exhale is going to bring our forehead to the floor, hips lift, and then resting lightly on the crown of the head, arms lift. If this feels unsafe in your neck, you could stay in a modified child's pose here. If this is a pose that feels okay in your body, you can have this experience of deeply touching the crown to the earth, inviting that shared energy, wisdom with the earth. Exhale, moving the hips towards the heels, arms release, allowing the arms to float in front. Hands come to thighs, pausing here. Just notice. Hands move back towards the front of the mat, toes curl under, the hips lift into downward dog. Pausing here in downward dog. We'll inhale, the right leg lifts. And then exhale, right leg steps between the hands. Setting up for warrior one pose here, hands lift to the thigh. And then arms lift, warrior one. Feel free to have a knee down, warrior one, or use the wall or a chair for balance here. Remembering there's so much learning that comes from falling out and moving back in to pose, feeling that big stretch in the left hip flexors. And then hands move through heart center. This is where we play again with balance. No judgment here. Can you keep a gentle smile on your lips as you play here? So torso is going to begin to move over that right knee as we bring our balance into the right foot. And then any amount that those left toes can lift off the floor. Maybe you have a wall for balance here. Noticing the core strength, pulling the belly towards the spine as we lift that left foot any amount off the floor. Playing with your hands, either hands behind or in front. And then exhale, keeping that balance as much as possible. We're bringing ourselves into standing and finding your tree pose.
Great work. Playing, this is all play. How's that smile? Are you able to take yourself less seriously? Just know, giving yourself credit for showing up and trying. And exhale, hands come through heart center. Foot releases to the floor. Standing here. Let's put right hand on the heart, left hand over the right. Allow your gaze to be soft or eyes closed. Feet wide apart so you feel you have your balance. And just notice. Notice any tingling. Notice your heartbeat. Notice any flushing of energy or emotions that are moving through you. Let them move through. Use your breath to help them release. And then let's shake out our hands. Let our hands release, shake out our legs. We'll come to a wide stance on the mat. Maybe just rocking here from side to side, feeling some opening in the groin and the inner leg lines. And then standing here at center, let's lift the arms into a 5-pointed star. And then we'll exhale with a forward fold. Hands can come to the thighs. Maybe hands reach the floor. You can pause here and stay at center, or we'll inhale the right arm for a twist to the right. Exhaling, right arm releases to center. Inhale, left arm sweeps up, twisting to the left. Exhale, release. Finding our way back to seated here. We have options here. You can, if you practice a shoulder stand, that might be a nice option now, or any other postures that would feel just right in our closing before we're working towards sitting in meditation. We're just moving ourselves towards that with a few closing postures. I'm going to guide using a block to under the sacrum for a legs up position. So if you were to lie back on the mat, you could pull a block or a pillow right under the sacrum. So the bony part at the back of the pelvis. Maybe this is just a nice release right here. You could let the knees knock towards each other, just staying here, or hands could come to the floor, lifting one leg and then the other leg. Feeling the breath land in the belly. Can you soften through the jaw? Soften through the eyes, imagining a gentle smile through the eyes and the jaw, the throat. Anytime we have the opportunity to lift the heart slightly higher than the head, They're opportunities for changing our perspective and for allowing heart energy to have a more prominent position. And then wherever you are, releasing the legs and props. Might take the knees to the chest here, giving yourself a hug. Maybe the head comes to the knees like you're in a tight little ball. And then releasing the legs and choosing here whether you would like to stay in Shavasana for the final few minutes, or if you would like to come to seated position for meditation. You can find your way there now, maybe rocking up or rolling to one side. And pulling in any props or extra layers you would like to be comfortable here. You could also follow along this meditation from a reclined position. That felt like you would be able to be more relaxed in that way. If you're in Shavasana, just let my words wash over you, feeling the energy behind them, not holding on too tightly. Wherever you are, bringing our attention back to our breath, noticing if your breath feels different here towards the end of our class than it did in the start. And we'll begin by bringing our attention right to the base of the spine, to our root chakra. We'll chant the vowel sounds of each of the chakras as we move up the spine. And I invite you to feel for the vibration and of sound through your energy field after each chant. Everyone is muted, so feel free to chant in any way that feels comfortable to you, or to just receive the sound of the chant. So the vowel sound for the root chakra is O. And we'll inhale and then chant. So inhaling. Oh. Root chakra is our place of attachment and grounding. Bringing your attention to the second chakra between the base of the spine and the belly button, our low belly. This is our place of creativity and sensuality. The vowel sound is oo. Inhaling. Ooh. Imagining the vibrations of sound rippling out like waves after a stone has been thrown in a pond. Bringing your attention up to the third chakra, our source of
willpower, transformation. Vowel sound is ah, ah. Inhaling. Bringing your awareness up to the heart center, fourth chakra. Kindness and compassion emanate from this area, both towards ourselves and towards others. The vowel sound is A. Inhaling. Moving now to the fifth chakra at the throat. Fifth chakra helps us to speak and hear the truth without being defended. The vowel sound for this chakra is A. Sorry, E. Inhaling. Moving now to the sixth chakra at the third eye center. That place at the center of the brain, imagining it being filled with light. The vowel sound is like your lips together, the M sound. Inhaling. Our last chakra, the seventh chakra, crown of the head. I think I may have forgotten to mention that the sixth chakra is our place of insight and intuition. And our crown chakra is our connection to the divine, where we are able to feel radiance and boundlessness through this portal. The vowel sound is I-N-G, ing, kind of lingering on the G eventually. We'll inhale, ing. Allowing now all of these vibrations to mix, imagining a gentle, easy flow of light and energy from the base of your spine through the crown of your head. We'll sit for just a minute here, experiencing the fullness of all 7 chakras. Bringing hands to your heart center once again. Taking a moment to notice the quiet and stillness that you have created here at the end of your practice. Notice the feeling throughout your whole body. Feeling yourself being able to receive light through the crown of your head, and that light can fill your entire field through your whole body and beyond your body. May you bring your light into the world. Namaste.